Introducing our host, Fred Swaniker, in conversation with iconic global leaders. Welcome to The Pathway.
I'm the founder of The Room. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to this very special inaugural episode of The Pathway. As Room members, you are the world's most ambitious doers, the innovators, disruptors, entrepreneurs, and the leaders who will shape the world. Here in The Room, we challenge you to do more with the opportunities and skills you have, to solve the world's toughest problems. And this conversation series, The Pathway, aims to demystify the road to success. We'll uncover the milestones, failures, relationships, and untold serendipity that has enabled the trajectory of some of the world's greatest leaders. Our hope is that it will give you some insight to help you craft your own journey of impact. And I couldn't be more excited that our first leader to join us on The Pathway is my friend, Masai Ujiri. You know Masai as the president of the Toronto Raptors, the 2019 NBA champions. You also know him as someone who was named the NBA Executive of the Year in 2013, the first non-American to receive this recognition. He was raised in the town of Zaria in northern Nigeria, and his journey to success traverses Africa, North America, and Europe. His journey has shown time and time again how abandoning the safe path for one of risk often leads to great rewards. Masai embodies the type of talent that we want to see here in The Room. World-class talent that is performing at the highest levels on the global stage. And as an African, it goes without saying that all of us on the continent are very, very proud of Masai. Today, I want to go behind the scenes and ask the central question. How did Masai Ujiri become Masai Ujiri? So welcome, my brother, to our very first edition of The Pathway. It's always great to spend time with you. It's always, thank you. Well, thanks again for joining us. It's always great to spend time with you. And I want to thank you for making the time to be with us today. We're joined in this conversation by a few members of The Room who are here in our virtual audience. And they'll soon get a chance to ask you questions. as well as by a live audience of hundreds of people who are joining us on YouTube. Now, Masai, your story is a success, is a tenacious pursuit of a dream. Too often, we tell people who want to be successful about the 1 in a million odds against them. And I've heard you say before that someone has to be that 1 in a million. So it might as well be you. And I want to tell you how. So within that vein, Masai, what would you tell that young man running in the streets of Zaria today who wants to be the next Masai Ujiri about what he needs to do over the next few decades to reach the same heights as you? What is the formula that you would share with this young man?
It's a thing. First of all, Fred, thank you. I'm so honored, to be in the room. I think it's such an incredible concept to have, and we need this, as a forum to even speak to lots of people on the continent and all over the world. But yeah, what do I? You start with a very, very like tough question, knowing you. What do I tell those youth and that kid from Zaria? I think it's um, follow your passion and follow your dream. Like and don't ever give it up. Don't just follow it as you go. I think you have to go down to the basics. The basics that I think is a big part of what the conversation around the world is today, which is humanity and who you are as a person. And I think it's what is wrong sometimes with a lot of things that's going on in the world. So I go back to the basics, honestly, Fred. Kindness, respect, honesty, uh, lending a hand to people, respect. I think it's so important, like that we carry all these things before, ego and pride and all those things, like, and I've really pride myself in. I think you just want to be a good human being as you go, and my dad always taught me that. My dad always taught me that you help others, you're honest, you respect people, you respect women. He always said to me, you see your mom, you see your daughter, sorry, you see your sister at the time. He says, treat people and treat women how you treat your mom and your sister. And I think it's a very good way, like to put it. So I honestly say focus is a big part of um, you teaching youth and how they should drive themselves in um, in how they want to go and attack the world.
Great. So you say it's about respect and honesty and treating people well and really, hard work and commitment. I mean, I guess if you think back to where you are today, um, and how you got here, how much would you attribute where you are to luck and serendipity? Um, how much would you attribute to someone just believing in you, and how much would you attribute to your own hard work? If you think about the 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 different contributions to where you are today.
It's funny you say that, Fred. There's so much, so much luck, like to this thing, like, and I believe in those things I just said. We always talk about karma. We talk about being good to people, treating people the way you want to be treated, and you find out that as you go you wonder why like certain things like happen to you, because you're right, it is luck, like it is that serendipity. It is there are things that you almost feel that you can't really control, right? And you just leave it into the hands. I know we say into the hands of God, but you almost leave it where it sometimes happens naturally. And that has happened to me like a lot in my career. You find yourself at the right place, sometimes at the right time, and there's sometimes you find yourself at the wrong place. But maybe that luck helps you maneuver away, to get away from being in that wrong place and wrong things to happen to you. It happens to all of us, we go through tough times, we go through tough decisions, we go through financial crisis. There's so many things every human being just experiences as you go through life. I always used to wonder, when I played on the national team and I was playing professional in Europe, I wonder why. I just always used to wonder why I never made progress. I was I earned very little money playing ball in Europe, and I was like, okay, where is this taking me? Where is this really going? I want to play in Spain. I want to play in Greece. I knew I wasn't good enough to play in the NBA, but then, I'm not even making progress in this way. I played on the national team in Nigeria, but I was on the bench, but you know, inside that time, Fred, I always found something. And when I was not playing on the national team, I found out that everyone seemed to always come to me, for advice. And I was some kind of a kid playing on the national team that people would come and ask questions. And I always wondered to myself, what do I know that they don't know? Okay? I'm not playing, I'm not the best player. What do they know that I don't know? And even in Europe, when I was when I was not making progress in my salary or playing in the big leagues, I always wondered why. I loved it. I loved the game. And I felt that there was so much in the game that I could get out of. And in my head, it started going away from playing. And that's how I transitioned, to go away from, okay, you're not good enough to play, you suck basically. And now how do you transfer this, somewhere else, because you just love it so much. And maybe that's the luck somewhere, somehow, the meeting of people. I'll never forget how I met Amadou Fall, and how he offered me a bed in his room, because I didn't have the money as an unpaid scout to afford my own room. It's so it's there's so many things, there is luck as we go on and on and on, and I built some sort of career. So many things you had to get lucky with, and I feel that comes from maybe hopefully being good to people, and hopefully maybe even bringing people along.
So you keep coming back to this whole point about how you treat others, being good to people, bringing people along, and the relationships that enabled you to be successful. So I want to, and it sounds also like that a lot of where you are today, you didn't actually quite engineer. You went it out. You started out on a journey to be a player, and you weren't as successful in that journey, and it actually ended up leading you towards what perhaps was your real destiny, your real purpose in life. Today, you are one of the greatest general managers of basketball teams in the world. And had you been a player, perhaps you wouldn't have been making the history that you're making today. So really interesting how sometimes the things that we most desire are actually not the things that we most need. And look at, and ultimately you look at where you ended up. So that's really fascinating to hear. Now, you've made quite a few tough course corrections along the way. You changed your focus from playing football to basketball as a youngster. Then you left college early to play pro in Europe. You quit playing professional basketball in Europe and returned to Africa. And then you took an unpaid job as a scout for the NBA. You mentioned all the tough times you had, scouting without a salary, sleeping in people's houses. And I remember the story once told me about how you slept outside because you went back to this guy's house you're staying with, and the door was locked, and all these tough times that you went through. And perhaps also one of the most well-known controversial decisions you made was when you decided to trade a top player, DeMar DeRozan, in 2018. Now, these were all tough course corrections, right? Where there was no guarantee of success. You took risks. What enabled you to make those tough course corrections, to take some of those tough decisions that ultimately, contribute to your success?
Well, as leaders, Fred, we are put in those positions where we have to make these decisions. That's why you're a leader, and I love to empower people, whether it's the Raptors or Giants of Africa or everything that we do. I think you have to have smart people, and I've been taught that you hire everybody that works for me. I think, especially on a higher level, lead my leadership team. I believe that they are all smarter than me because they're just there. You have to find those kind of people. You have to be secure enough, and be confident enough as a leader, because they are going to take you even higher. As you create your workplace, like I understand business 100%. I understand the way it works. When you have your business, you also want to create an environment that people find conducive to work, and people enjoy. I want everybody to enjoy coming to work every day, one way or the other. And enjoy coming to work means there could be tough days, like there are going to be tough days. What I struggled with the trading of DeMar DeRozan and the letting go of Coach Casey, for me was, if I come and speak about humanity, I come and speak about people and kindness and lending a hand, and then you have to make such tough decisions based on business. It sometimes feels like there's a conflict, right? Like inside you. I'll tell you, Fred, when we did I did the DeMar DeRozan trade. I was in a hotel in Kenya. I just spent the day with President Obama, with the court we built for Auma Obama, and now things start really going, and the trade starts happening. And when it was time to call DeMar, I walked around that hotel in Kenya at 4 a.m. for 2 hours trying to sum up the courage, to call him. Yeah, and that's the part that, like, I know the unbelievable person that he is. I know the player that he is, but I also understood that we had come to a place that we had done it so much that you can't do it anymore. Like, and that's tough, man. That's tough, especially when you know how good of a person like this kid is. Same thing with Coach Casey. I remember going into the office that day at 7:30 in the morning, and I had my the chief of staff there very early, and I said, well, guess what, we're gonna move this decision till like next Monday. And it was a Friday morning, and she looked at me and she was like, why? Like, we've already talked through this, and this is where it's that place in your heart, like where you feel. And that's why, like, when my team came together, it was the right decision at the right time, like happening to an unbelievable man that was almost a father figure to me, like we're working together with him. And those are tough. When in our business, when it comes to trading a player or a player leaving or letting somebody go, like at some point we all will be let go one way or the other. You knock wood, like that. You can continue to do well one way or the other, but those are things you live with, Fred. And sometimes I struggle with them, like just from maybe the inside person that I know I am. But as a leader, you have to be fierce. You have to be, you have to have no fear. You have to make these tough decisions. You have to lead people. You have to empower. These are strong things, strong qualities of a leader. And as you go, you have to prove that these are the facts and these are the things that you want to come out of this. And that's winning. Yeah, it comes down to winning, right? And so the way I break it down is winning. I have to win, and you win on the court, and I win off the court. And while you do it, you bring people along, and you continue to bring people along. And maybe that's the best way that I can that I can put it.
Wow. So you talk about the tough choices that you have to make as a leader, balancing mission, the work you're doing versus the real human lives of the people that you lead and the consequences of some of these decisions that you have to make. But ultimately, you're working for a higher mission, a higher purpose. So speaking about that, Masai, you talked about winning on the court and winning off court. If you look at the off court part, what is your life's mission? Your greatest aspiration, the quest that you're on. What are you trying to achieve? With your, if you think about the purpose that you're living for.
Oh man. Well, through focus, through purpose, through an honest direction, um, I, I wanted to get to a certain place with sports where you are winning on the court. And in my game, it involves championships. And then when I moved it to things that I wanted to do um, in terms of where I grew up, in terms of helping youth, the youth movement in the world, how can I affect that? And that started through the game of basketball, and how do you continue to maybe help other people. I don't want to be the only one that does this. So when I look at my path coming from Africa, if I'm a young kid from Zaria, I look at Giants of Africa and all the basketball camps that we do, and I say to myself, there's so many youth that are smarter than me, better than me basketball wise. And how do we create a way to make this youth elevate in one way or the other? And so when I think of my sense of purpose, it started from the game, and then it teaching other youth what the basic fundamentals of the game, and then it went into how do you teach these youth life skills, like how to say their name well, how to talk to their elders, how to respect women, how to be honest, how to sometimes we have to teach now how to even be human, there are many things that I wanted to go past the game and maybe start teaching this youth those things. Then it jumped again, Fred, to sports and Africa. And how do you even make that jump higher, where we don't have that opportunity in sports? How do we give that opportunity in sports and enlighten people more on how there is an economic engine in sports that can actually feed this continent that will feed a lot of people, like to bring a lot of life. And that's from building facilities, courts, like teaching kids that there's something so much around sports that we can learn. I've always thought about it. Why don't we have the Premiership in Africa? Why don't we have the NBA in Africa? I love your TED Talks and you speaking in Harvard or all the places you speak. You always talk about what our greatest gift is on the continent. It's talent. It's people. It's our biggest talent. Yeah, in sports, we have the most talent, physical talent in the world. And how can we not use it? Yeah, so how do we continue to teach, that, we can have our own arenas, we can have our own programs, we can have our own talent, we can pay our own players, we can have our own TVs, we can have our own media that show all this stuff. We have the talent, we have the people, we have the resources, really. Yeah, and now we have to bring is what ALN is hoping to accomplish and is doing, is find these leaders, these capable leaders that are going to come and do this the right way and give more opportunity. So when you ask me, like what my sense of purpose is, I evolve every day. Every day I evolve and I try to learn and to listen and to see where I'm needed and where my voice is needed, where my skill is needed. And maybe one day it's not going to be the president of the Toronto Raptors. Maybe it's something more, maybe it's something less, maybe it's something elsewhere, maybe it's something here in Canada. I don't know. But I know as a human being, I'm going to continue to evolve and keep that motto of winning. Winning. Have to win. You have to win. You always have to win in life, in my opinion. You have to win on the court, you have to win off the court, and as you do it, you have to bring people along.
I love that. I love it. So you started out first by trying to win at sports, and that was your passion. Then you then evolved into how do you bring out the next generation of youth to follow in your footsteps, and then now you talked about trying to build more broadly the whole sports industry really in Africa, right? And really thinking about how do we unlock this immense talent pool that we have to build true economic opportunity on the continent in sports. And now you're saying, hey, who's next? Okay, so that's kind of now we're getting a deeper sense of some of the the higher purpose that you're working towards. Now, here in the room, Masai, our study of success shows that no one makes it on their own. No matter how good your skills are, if you don't have access to the right networks, to someone who believes in you, someone who invests in you, who opens doors for you, who creates opportunity, you won't be able to achieve your mission. You talked about this big grand mission that you have. Now, celebrities and professional athletes have always had agents who open doors for them, right? If you recall that movie Jerry Maguire, where you've got the Tom Cruise character, serving as the ambassador of Kwan, right, for Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character opening doors. So we asked ourselves here, what if the most ambitious doers in the world also had agents, right? People who could serve as their ambassadors, their connectors, their advisors, their door openers. What more could they do to actually impact the world? And we call these people pathfinders. And our mission in the room is to connect the world's most ambitious doers to pathfinders who can help them to do more. So who has been your greatest pathfinder? Someone who has truly opened doors for you and enabled your access and your support and your success.
It's such a unique question, and I'm going to give you a very unique answer, Fred. My answer is the community, and it's the community from every level. It's been so interesting. You have no idea. You have no idea how coming to ALN for I think 5 years or 6 years helped me as a leader. You have no idea. So if I mention my dad, I mentioned my mom, the early teachings of character, of values, of how you carry yourself as a young youth, as a kid, how you respect people. I keep going into, the journeys of all levels of karma, of people that have helped you. I remember when I first came to Toronto as a director of global scouting, and I'd have to go to meetings and wear a tie, and I could never get knot in the tie like right. And I lived in an apartment, and I'll come down, and there's this guy called Gordy who was our concierge person at the doorman almost, and he always had like a nice looking tie, and I'd bring the ties to him to knot for me, and it's something that I remember and helped me, because I remember he would tell me I'm not working the next couple of days, and I'll bring down 3 ties for him to knot for me because I didn't know which one I was going to wear, and he would do it for me. I remember going to one of Amadou's camps in Senegal, and there's this kid that comes and he's always cleaning the gyms, and doing so many things, helping us, but it's kind of unknown. Nobody really, he liked basketball, doesn't really play anymore. And he'd always give me something every time I come, whether it's like a carving or beads or bracelet. And I'd pile them up, in my hand. My wife would ask me, where are all these things coming from, and I keep them because they keep you going. You remember these people, they have helped you come along the way. Then I move up and see how people like Amadou, see how people like Adam Silver, all these people have helped me, even when we were just scouts. I was friends with the commissioner of the NBA when he was, I think, director of entertainment or vice president. He wasn't even a deputy commissioner at the time. You go through all those moments with all these people, all the scouts that help you. I think of the moments, Fred, when I came to the first ALN conference in Rwanda, I think it was, and sitting there and watching you guys and how dynamic it was, and wow, all these African people in diaspora or people on the continent. And I remember also coming to Harvard to watch you speak and watch Acha speak. And I just kept thinking, man, we have all these people that can really carry a continent. And then you rise up even a level, and I think of the opportunities I've had to be very close friends with President Kagame or from them, because I listen, I learn, I want to know more. I love the culture of Africa. I love the culture of the world. I love the politics of the world. I love the youth of the world, and so how do you learn? So when I come back to everything, I think the community has really helped me, yeah, get to the place that I am. And it's at all levels. I haven't even come to my dear family here with my beautiful wife and my beautiful kids, and how they inspire you and they make you want to do better and make you want to do more. To me, it's all about that. It's all about growing. It's all about learning and listening. And sometimes we talk too much. Sometimes we, we want to hear ourselves talk, how about we listen more? And I think one of the things I've learned in my life is to be a good listener and maybe to be a good learner from all levels.
That's an amazing story. So talk about how the entire community, from everyone, from the doorman who helped you tie your tie, to your family, to President Kagame, to President Obama, and all, Adam Silver, all these people who have over the years been, part of your community have really helped to propel your success. That's helpful, really important reminder for all of us about who we spend our time with and the relationships we build and how those ultimately really enable our success. One of the things I really believe is that life is not about how much money you make or how much fame you get, really, but really about who you spend it with. And I think you're talking about you spent your life with some really amazing people. Now, in August, you released a statement in response to the surfacing of the video that's showing you being shoved by a police officer. As you stepped onto court to celebrate with your own team. And in part, you said, I was reminded in that moment that despite all of my hard work and success, there are some people, including those who are supposed to protect us, who will always and only see me as something that is unworthy of respectful engagement. And there's only one indisputable reason why that is the case, because I'm Black. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience about your views on Black Lives Matter and the global wave of police brutality that we're seeing around the world, including right now in your home country, of Nigeria with the End SARS movement? Just what are your thoughts on this issue?
Yeah, it's these are things that are really affecting the world right now, Fred. First of all, I commend the youth, for their boldness, and also doing things an incredible way. Very smart in Nigeria, dealing with that issue. There is that issue of police brutality, and it seems to be worldwide. Like I know I've dealt with it personally on both sides, and I really commend them for having the courage to come out and do that. I'll say this when I talk about first of all Nigeria. Corruption is an issue. Yeah, corruption is an issue. We're going to have to come back to corruption at some point, because even when I see people who tweet and support the youth and are saying, okay, yeah, this is the right movement, there are quite a few people that are corrupt and are still have the audacity to even send all these tweets and all this support. Corruption is the fabric of what we've now built ourselves in Nigeria, and we need to come out of that. We need to find a way as people, because it's not who we are. We are smart people. We are incredible, resilient people. We're one of the most talented countries in the world. And the root of this evil and problems is corruption. Comes from that. And so we have to go back and really address this issue. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, and I think what has happened to me, we have seen that honestly, Black people don't get a fair shot at that. Normal people. We say, what are the tough questions we ask, Fred? And I ask them. You can't be afraid to ask them. Yeah. A couple of the questions is, why do you have to be uh, worried about the color of your skin? Yeah. Do you ever, what is it that you do and that makes you feel challenged just from being Black? Why is the white race seen as a superior race to other races? Is it because of what happened years ago, millions of years ago, hundreds of years ago? Is it because of where people grow up? We all have to tell a story. We all have to really address this the right way. And it's going to come down to humanity, to who we are as people. When I see George Floyd and him kneeling, a policeman kneeling on him, okay, and no feelings, he's crying, he's bleeding, he's calling for his mom, and he's telling you he can't breathe. Who are you? Who are you as a human being? Yeah, who are you as a human being? Forget being a policeman. Who are you as a human being? You see a kid is running away towards a fence, and the only thing you can do is shoot him. Yeah, like who are we as people? Then I think of the opportunities. Yeah, when I think of um, systemic racism and the opportunities that some black people, a lot of black people don't get, like in different positions. Fred, how can I look at myself and say, I am the only president I think there's only one or two of us that's
In
black.
a league that is primarily black. Yeah.
You take all the five leagues, the Premiership, you take MLS, you take NHL, you take NFL, you take go look at it. It's a decision maker. I make the decisions. Okay, look at it in leagues that are primarily black players. Okay, yeah, this is a time when we can speak. This is a time when we can fight, and it's not only everybody can speak now. Everybody can talk. Everybody can be fair. In those boardrooms we go to, Fred, like you go into those boardrooms, don't see any black persons. That's where decisions are being made. Yeah, that's where big decisions are being made. And we have to find that opportunity. It's not just an intern. So we have to tackle it from the bottom, and we have to tackle it from the top. When it comes down to the police case and what happened to me, um, in my mind, Fred, honestly, I forgive. Like there's no part of me in my heart where I don't forgive. But I have to fight. I have to fight for people that don't have opportunity, people that don't have a camera, people that don't have the resources to hire lawyers, and this thing happens to them on a street where nobody is looking. Yeah, these things happen to people, to black people. Yeah, and we have to fight for those people. It comes back to humanity, and I want to see the world. Um, I want to see the world almost like the first day we came into this world, a blank slate, right? It's all blank, absent of
Mm,
all the things that seem to divide us now. No limits.
And then we can start
Yeah,
from there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, thank you very much for saying that. I'm going to go to the audience in a minute to ask them to ask you some questions. So if the folks who are in the virtual audience with us, if you can please, share your questions. I'll pick a couple of folks to come and pose them to Masai. But Masai, just before we do that, the very last question I want to ask you. We're having this conversation on a historic day, on a historic US election that is probably one of the most divisive in history. And that has consequences not just for America, but for the whole world. Now, yesterday, I read an article advocating that you should run for political office in Canada. You clearly have great leadership skills. So my question is political office within the zone of possibility for you? Very brief question, very brief response to that.
I think my answer is I love sports, and I love where I am. Will I continue to evolve as a person? I have no idea where that will take me, but my my heart tells me that I want to keep evolving as a person, and I want to keep winning at whatever I do.
So you could be one day be winning in politics. So Masai Ujiri for governor or president of the Canada is not off the table.
I would never want to limit it to Canada.
I love that. Okay, I love that. I love that. I love that. Fantastic. All right. Well, let's go to a couple of questions. I see someone typing in Nigeria, please. They want you to run for office there. So I'm going to ask, first question. How about Anthony Mburu, who's joining us from Nairobi, Kenya? Anthony, do you want to come up and ask your question to Masai? Yeah, please go ahead, Anthony. You're on mute.
He might be on mute.
He's on mute. Okay, Masai. Let me read his question. He says, "Hi, Masai. I'm an avid basketball fan sorry." He says, here's Anthony's question. He says, Ethiopia, as an example, has done very well in athletics, but sports management remains our biggest letdown. What insights do you have on how we can attract great leadership talent to develop and elevate athletics in Africa, to create more economic value on the continent so that we can, for example, have a diamond league in Africa?"
I think one of the things, Fred, that we don't do so well on the continent is we put people in charge of sports that are not experts, and that has been a detriment for sports to move forward. I have made it clear that you cannot move the Minister of Agriculture and make him the Minister of Sports when he has no knowledge of sports. And okay, even if he has no knowledge of sports, I wish that they would actually even bring in experts to help them. If today I found myself in a job where, you know what, I had to do that job and I don't know anything about that job, I will go hire the experts, the people that know this, so that you can elevate yourself. And from country to country, we just bring in people that have no knowledge of sports, and it's killing and taking sports down on the continent, and we're not making any progress. So whoever is watching this from every single country in the world, in Africa, we need to stop. We need to stop. I've said it even to President Buhari. I've said it to all president that we need to hire experts in sports, because it's a place that where we can really grow. And if we hire those experts, they will come to places and look at leagues, look at models, go to the Premiership, go to the NBA, go to all these places that have these leagues and learn. It's what Amadou Fall is doing with the Bar League, which is going to be a strong movement on the continent, because you're bringing a strong model that fits on the continent of Africa. Until we have these experts, an expert in athletics, an expert in boxing, an expert in basketball, sports experts that know the game, that know how to manage the game, or are willing to go out and learn how to manage the sports on the continent and come back. That's the small part that we have to jump. That's that hurdle that we have to jump. And I'm hoping that what Amadou Fall is doing with the Bar League is going to set like a good example for us on the continent in sports. What President Kagame is doing with the facilities he's building, with that arena he's built, with the arena President Macky Sall built in Senegal. I hope that sets a pace, an example for how we can move forward in sports on the continent.
I love it. So you're saying, again, like so many of Africa's problems, boils down to leadership. Let's get good talent in place that can actually build the sports industry for us. Okay, I'm going to ask Nicole Amatefio from Ghana to come and ask her question. Let's see if the audio hopefully works this time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
We can hear you.
Hi, Masai. Hi, Fred. My name is
Hi.
Nicole Amatefio. I'm a TV producer. I split my time between LA and Accra. I would like to know, what is your favorite TV show? And if a TV series was made on your life, who would play you? What would your TV show look like? What would be the most important message an audience would get out of watching your TV show?
Wow, that's an incredible question there. I don't watch a lot of TV shows because um, I I don't know, I just don't. Um, what's the one I watch sometimes with my wife? I'm even forgetting now and I'm blanking. The one in New York done by the rapper. Uh,
Oh, 50 Cent Power.
Power. Yeah, I really like Power. Yeah, I watch Power with my wife sometimes when she's watching it. Man, a TV
I'll let
show
the
in my
showrunner know.
life.
I'll let the creator know.
Yeah, if it was on me, my son really looks like me. He's only 5 though, so maybe I hope that maybe after a long time, that um, we've won a little bit more and we've achieved like a little bit more. Maybe that can be achieved somewhere, but I never see life where like something is done on me, but he's a carbon copy of me, so maybe he can do something. I know he'll be doing his own thing at the time, but that's the only that's the only thing I can really like think of. Sorry.
And what would the message
Nicole,
be?
how about the future
What would the
president of the
audience
world?
get out of the TV show?
Pardon me?
What would be the message? What would be the message audiences would get from your TV show?
I think for me it's humanity. Like when I think of humanity and who we are as people, I think it's for me. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who you are. You should have a fair shot at anything or anything you want to be in life. Like I strongly feel that, and in this world today, we have to relearn what it is to be human, and maybe one day I can continue to send that message, around to youth of the world and people around the world.
Thank you, Nicole. So the last question, I'll call up Akshay to come and ask your question. Zoom went down for everyone. Well,
thank you.
Not for everyone, just for you guys in
great.
Kenya.
Okay. All right. You see Akshay? Okay, Akshay.
Sorry, Akshay here. Yes.
All right, go ahead,
Okay,
Akshay.
sorry, I can't. Yeah, my question is simply this. You talked a lot about winning and taking people along But often for a lot of people, once you get into that habit of winning and things, it sort of becomes overwhelming and overpowering. What do you do as an individual to sort of keep grounded, to make sure, as you're winning and your goal is always winning, that you're not taking people for granted, that you're not crossing ethical lines, that you're not beginning to do it for just the sake of winning, but you're actually carrying people along and you're making that broader impact in society that you initially started out with?
It's such a great question. Thank you. And when I say when I say I value where I come from, and I know I make it a habit, like that you continue to think, you continue to breathe, you continue to eat the values and characters and teachings of my parents, of where I come from. I'm so proud of being from Africa, and for me, Africa must win. Yeah, Africa must win. There's no other way, there's no other option. Africa must win. And as long as I still instill that in me, I will never get that way, because everything that I do, I take it back to the continent. Yeah, I see it in the continent as well. I have to be that way. I have to think that way. I have lived that way. I have eaten that way. I have grown up that way. And that is what I love. That is who I am as a person. Yeah. And so I take it back that wherever I win or wherever we win, Africa must win. Yeah, we must. There's no other option for me and for us. We have to. Yeah, we have to. And we as leaders, or even in the positions that we are, we have to continue to bring people along. Yeah, we have to. It's an obligation. It's something that last night I wake up every day, I think of it. Early in the morning, I think of it. As I work, I think of it. As I sleep, I think of it. This is the life that I live and we live. And I say it again, Africa must win.
Thank you, thank you. So we come to the end. We come to the end of the conversation with Masai. But Masai, the last thing that we do in this pathway, something that perhaps you're not expecting. This is what I call the firewalk. I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, and you have to answer them in less than 5 words. Right? So, Masai, in 5 words or less, right? Masai's journey from Zaria to president of the Toronto Raptors.
An example for all youth on the continent.
Love it, love it. How it felt to come full circle and take the NBA championship trophy to your hometown of Zaria, Nigeria.
Fulfilling.
Brilliant. You said it even less than 5 words. Your reaction when you found out that Kawhi Leonard was signing with the Clippers.
On to the next.
Ooh, I love that. A leader who continues moving. So now we're going to make it a bit easier, Masai. Choose 3 players of all time to represent Nigeria in a fantasy 3-on-3 tournament.
3 players to represent Nigeria in a fantasy tournament. Basketball tournament or any kind of tournament?
Basketball.
I would go get Akeem Olajuwon. I would get... Oh, this is a tough one. This is really, really tough. Akeem Olajuwon. I would give Giannis Antetokounmpo a Nigerian passport, and have him, and then maybe I'd take OG and Anobi from my Raptors team to join them. My
All
three.
right. So hip hop or Afro beats?
Oh, Afro beats any day.
The future for black executives and coaches in pro sports, bleak or bright?
100% bright.
Masai Ujiri in 2023, president of the Raptors or president of Canada?
I think president of Raptors. Might be president of something else though, some other place. I don't know.
One item on your bucket list.
Oh, one item on my bucket list is I want to go to Darfur.
Oh, wow. Adventurous man. What is one thing that annoys you the most?
Ah, somebody contesting in the elections today.
Somebody contesting the US election today. I love that. Name one thing you own that you wish you didn't.
One thing that I own that I wish I didn't. Oh, what would that be? I don't own a lot. Anybody want my two kids in COVID?
Complete
I love
complete the sentence. When I dance, I look like.
When I dance, I look like who is a really, really good dancer? Because my wife is always giving me hell that I can't dance. And I really believe that I can dance. Sorry, I know it's a long
Usher.
answer. Huh?
Usher. How about Usher?
Acha, is he a good dancer?
No, Usher.
Oh, Usher. Usher, yes. Maybe I'll go with Usher.
Not me, not me.
You go with no, not
I knew
actually.
you were somewhere.
What's the What's the best advantage of being tall?
You can see everything you want to see.
Where do you go to think?
I think in two places. 4:30 in the morning. While you're sleeping, someone else is winning. I also think when I'm working out.
All right. Two more questions. What supply in your house is running low right now?
If you ask my wife, she'll say paper towel. Yesterday I was taking paper towel and she's like, no, don't use that much paper towel. So I'd say paper towel in COVID.
So lastly, yep, I know how that goes. Lastly, describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, describe myself. I hate doing this. Anything to do with describe yourself, Fred, I hate it. Um, I hope kind. I hope um, ah, loves the
Respectful. You
world.
use that word a lot.
Loves
Loves the
people.
world. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Masai. Thank you for being such a good sport. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. Thanks for your time. I know you're very busy, and if you have a chance to vote in the U.S. election today, maybe you can. But I think you're Canadian, so this is the end of our session. Really honored that you were the first guest on this the pathway, the very first episode, and always such a pleasure to spend time with you. Thanks for all you're doing to fly the flag high for Africa, and wish you the best in your amazing career with the Toronto Raptors and beyond. So thanks again.
God bless you, Fred. Thank you to you and Acha for being the leaders that you guys have been, and thank you, honestly, for your friendship. You've been incredible for me since I've known you. Please keep doing all the work that you're doing, because it means a lot. You have no idea how much it means to all of us. No idea, and one day you will. So. God bless you, and God bless Africa, and God bless everything that everybody is doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Masai. And for our viewers online, this wraps up our show for today, our episode for The Pathway. And for those of you on Zoom, please stay on, and we'll do a short breakout group so we can touch on some of the questions, some of the conversation that we just had. So thank you everyone for joining us on YouTube, and for Zoom, if you've got another 15-20 minutes, please stay for a brief discussion.
Thank you for joining us on YouTube today. Do tune in next time, and be sure to like and subscribe the Pathways channel. For our members who've joined us on Zoom, do stay on the call for more conversations